Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 108. Do you believe it? 108 episodes of Carmela's Wrestling Radio Relived. Hi, Jeannie.
Wow. Hi,
And I'll
Carm.
tell you something. Our guest tonight is the man who made it all possible.
Yes.
Without this man, we would not have a podcast. Brian
Oh
Tramel, the
no,
Shiznit
you
guy.
thank you. You ladies have done all this for so long now. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm very impressed. Kind of shocked that you're still doing it because
Aw,
y'all. Well, that's they say podcast is about 12 episodes. That the
really?
average podcast is 12 episodes. We just finished recording episode 1033
Wow.
on
Well, we
S.
want to
Wow.
kick to you, Brian. That's what
Congrats.
we're doing.
Do I? Oh yeah. Well, go ahead. You can start listening to all my episodes, and you'll have about 3 or 4 years. If you listen to them every day, you'll have
Oh,
over 3 years to listen to
wow. Wow.
me
That's
every
so
day of
cool.
the week. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love doing the podcast. I really do. We now are up to about 170 subscribers, which is not a lot, but we're still new.
Wow. Wow.
And we're getting there. We're getting there a little bit at a time.
I gotta show
Um,
y'all I gotta show y'all what I did. Hold on just a second.
okay.
Here is my brand new project. Can you see it right now? The camera's a little off, but I've got a chair over here.
Okay.
This is my studio. People will be able to come in, sit
Wow.
down. I hit the camera earlier when I
Wow.
was walking through, but I recorded my first one yesterday. It won't go out till sometime in March, and then I have a guest coming in on Saturday. He's going to sit down here, and we got 3 hours, and I've been knowing him since the day one of him starting in the business, so it should be really fun.
Can you tell us who it is?
It's Mike Anthony. He's with Memphis Wrestling.
Okay,
He's
cool.
been
Very
with
cool.
them the whole 5 years of Memphis Wrestling. As y'all guys know, I work for Memphis Wrestling, and we do. I do
Hmm.
their videos and stuff like that. And I've been
Very
knowing
cool.
him. He was trained by Rodney Mack
Okay.
in jazz. That was his trainers, and he's just a fantastic guy. We've talked back and forth the whole 5 years. I'll send him something. What were you thinking? No, most of the time I say fantastic match, fantastic match.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's so
w-
cool.
yeah, when I started doing this, in my mind, I was going to set up a quote unquote studio when we moved back here to Arkansas, and I never did it. And then I contacted him. It wasn't this May, but the May before because we do Memphis in May, and I was like, I want you on the podcast." He goes, "Only if I can come in and sit down."
Oh, wow.
And so for over a year, I've been promising him I'm going to set this up. And as I told you, I'm unemployed. By the way, if anybody needs some work from home help, please contact
Oh,
Carmela.
my
She'll get you in
God.
contact with me.
Poor
Uh,
Brian.
but I've been unemployed since September the 1st, so it's kept my mind. I've tried to keep my mind busy. Applying for jobs and such like, but keeping my mind busy doing different things with the podcast, and we just keep rolling. We got some really fun stuff coming down the pike. We're going to start concentrating. I am going to start concentrating a little bit more on Memphis history, since that's my cup of tea. So
Of course.
I do one from 1991, and we do week by week, and I do one for our Patreon for 1987, which was during the Lawler Rich Idol feud when
Wow.
they put him out and they shaved his head and blah blah blah. We can't, we're going through that whole. So it's been fun, and it takes me away. I got the local business with Memphis to do, and then every day we do like a shiznit minute. I talk about the current wrestling scene. So
You
that
know, it's it's
go ahead.
funny with everything that you're doing, like, and I know even with us, it's like we don't do anything near what you do, but I know with me anyway, it can keep me so busy that I wish this was a job, you
Oh
know?
yeah, I do
If
too.
you
Yeah.
could make if you could get paid your regular salary doing this, I think it would be amazing. I would love it. I would absolutely
Do
love it.
you get up? Do you get up in the morning sometimes and have to write something down or put it
Yeah,
in your
oh
phone
god, all
because
the
you got an
time.
idea? Yes, I do that. I've been
Yeah,
doing that for 5 years.
all the
I mean,
time.
no, I'm sorry. We celebrated our ninth year.
God
So
bless.
yes, I couldn't believe it. So it's
That's
9 years, and
crazy.
yeah, Crazy,
Well,
crazy, crazy.
before we start with some questions, we're going to say our normal hellos. We start saying hellos now to
Oh, okay.
people who contact us on a regular basis because we appreciate that. So we feel like we should acknowledge them, you know? So we're going to say hello to Douglas. Douglas, this guy Douglas is amazing. He is so kind and he writes to me every show. He's a really good guy. So we have Douglas, we have Michelle. We can't ever forget Michelle Stern.
Can't forget Michelle.
No, God bless her. She's always there. Mike Ferreira,
Yeah.
right, and he's always there too. And then we have, of course, Brian. You have to say hi to Debbie, please.
Yes.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
No, she's already. Let me tell you something. She loves you so much. She's already at home, practically in tears that you're even on tonight. Okay. No, you remember her. She's the one from Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I had to make you say hello to her. Then, of course, we have Chuck. We can't forget Chuck Langerman.
Can't forget
I told
Chuck.
you. No, he's the one who did he does our questions. God bless him.
Oh,
Every
wow.
time we have a podcast, he does all the research and he's got all these questions. And then we have to say hello to David, sweet David, and we have to say hello to Hector, and we have to say hello to Dave Shapiro. Oh my God, there's so many people. We're getting to the point now. And I want to say hello to Angelo. He's somebody who works with me and he's starting to watch the podcast, and Jared. And my God, there's so many people. We're grateful because every week it's like we're picking up a couple more, which I love.
You know,
That's
this
grateful.
reminds me of wrestling radio with you when you did.
Yeah.
You had so many people that were behind you and supported you. It really you can see where you actually turned it kind of into what you were already doing. So.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an extension of that.
Right.
So, hello to everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Please
I want to
tell your
shout
friends.
out to Ed. He's one of my.
Oh yeah, we can't forget Ed. No,
Can't forget Ed.
Ed Bogus, God bless him. He was on our show, Brian. He did
Yeah,
such a good job. Yeah. And he always, I don't know, that man, every time I go on Twitter, he's got a thing up. He does so many podcasts that he listens to.
Yep.
Every time I go in there, he's got something different. And it's about all different sports. It's about wrestling, different podcasts. Him and Brian go back and forth. Me and Ed go back and forth. He is a great guy. And I told him,
man, he spoiled me. I wished I had 100 Eds, but he will put out, like, he'll use every character in Twitter to tell me what he thought about that episode.
Yeah.
And if I don't hear from him, if I don't see it on Twitter after I've released it 2 or 3 days, I'll message him and go, dude, did you listen to this?
Yeah, I did too. Oh my God, I did the same thing. Well, what happened was one of our podcasts he didn't get. It didn't come up on his email. And I was like, Ed, we didn't hear anything from you. It's like, oh, I didn't get it. I said, oh, hell, you got to get it. We got to hear it.
Right.
And he's so knowledgeable. Like, we want to have him back on the show again. Like, have you ever had him on your show?
Yeah, he comes. We do a 5-minute time limit once a month where you come and talk for 5 minutes. And I think it's kind of an inside joke with us. We're going to have Ed on the show, but we never have him on the show. So it's been so long. It's been almost 9 years.
Wow.
But I have him come on. Like, if we do a special episode of 5-minute time limit, he'll come on and talk for 5 minutes. But very knowledgeable. I like his point of view. We had some I had some personnel change. Let me just put it that way. We had some personnel change at the office here at stspod.club last year. And Ed is still supportive of both people.
Yeah.
And, didn't choose sides and listens to everything I do. And I appreciate that. I really do.
He's a really good guy. And so is Chuck. Like I said, we just put it out there, like who's going to be on. By the time the day comes for the podcast, he's done like years of research.
Oh, wow. I'm scared now. I'm scared.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So let me run a question by you real quick. Okay. He says, can you talk a little bit about when you were a pro wrestler known as BT Express?
Oh, wow. This guy knows everything.
Oh, he does. He's
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good.
Okay. So I become a professional wrestler, quote unquote, because I got into an argument backstage with Jerry the King Lawler. If you will search my podcast feed, stspod.club, you search Jerry Lawler and you search Brian Tramel as a piece of shit.
Wow.
You will hear the interview Lawler had. We found it from 1990 or 91. It was on Cassette Wrestling News. He tells about the whole incident, and we found it in a. I didn't find it, but Jeff found it. The guy that does Cassette Wrestling News. We played it. Was one of the biggest episodes last year. But Lawler just pretty much said, "Hey, you can't do it." And somebody that tells me I can't do something, I'm going to learn how to do it.
He said
and
you couldn't become a wrestler. Is that what he was
I
talking about?
did. I was absolutely horrible. There's only probably one match on YouTube with me, and I came to Philadelphia and worked Tom Robinson's benefit show.
Okay.
That was my second or third match. Um, I wrestled for about like I said, about 18 matches. And then later on, I was like, I can't wrestle. What am I going to do? So I spent 5 years with these two teams, and we did all these little independents around here. And what I did was I would get with one team as a heel team, and I was the heel. And then I would switch up every 6 months or every 4 months and manage the other team. Uh,
Okay.
and we would go into towns and just say we'd go somewhere for the first time and just say just let's work the first match and then you decide what you want us to do, give us some money, blah blah blah. And it gave them a lot of experience. We worked we worked 100 dates in the first 9 months, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is for
It
independent.
is.
Two or
Yeah.
three, yeah, sometimes 3 dates. I always joke about being addicted to blading because if you blade, I would blade on Friday night and I'd blade Saturday, I would blade Sunday. I'd be like, go to work with a big blade mark on my head. I
Oh
was
my
like, oh my
God.
god. Uh, but yeah, I had a really good time. My knees at this age hate me for doing that because I would fall off the ring and everything. And then that's all we did. I had two teams, had two very talented teams that listened, and I would call a lot of spots and when to make the hot tag and all that kind of stuff outside the ring. Um, and so I called a 60-minute Ironman one night outside the ring
Oh my
while they.
God.
Wow.
So
Holy
it
crap.
was that was one of my was a tag team match, and it was an Iron Man tag team match, and I called the whole thing outside. When for them to go for the pin, when to do this, when to do that.
Wow.
But just fun. I had a great time until my ex wife got involved, and then I ended up divorcing, selling the promotions, selling the ring, because I was promoting shows also, and then ended up doing what we did WrestlingRideOnline.com in this area in the Jonesboro, Arkansas, Memphis area, where I was like the Dave Meltzer of that area. And then I took
Okay.
a break, came back, and started the podcast. So I've been involved with wrestling or fandom or something since I want to say 87 or 88,
Okay. All
something
right.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Very cool. You're right behind us there. Um, okay, here's another one. Brian, you made history on March 16th, 2024, when you appeared on the first episode of Carmela's Wrestling Radio Relived. On that historical podcast, you spoke about kayfabe no longer really existing due to the internet, podcast, stewed sheets, etc. 37 years ago, on February 10th, 1989, Vince McMahon Jr. and the World Wrestling Federation officially admitted to the New Jersey Senate that professional wrestling was scripted performance rather than a legitimate competitive sport. When McMahon admitted his product was sports entertainment and predetermined, do you think this legal admission at essentially, I can't see this, essentially ended the era of strictly protected kayfabe?
Don't think it did. I don't think enough people knew about what was happening in that. I Technology changes everything. It will
It
change
sure does.
no matter what line of business you were in. But the wrestling business started. They would have 3 matches at some little spot town here, say Jonesboro, Arkansas. 3 matches. You can see cards with 3 matches. Then they got television. Then they got, and now we got streaming. I think the internet with all the sites that were reporting what was going to happen. See, everybody talks about Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer had 800 subscribers when I started talking to him in 1986. Then he had 1,200. That's nothing compared to how many people look at his site now, or how many people look at all the sites. There's so many sites, and I don't know CompuServe, and I was not involved with all that, but I think there was so much inside information going on that it was hard to not expose the business.
Yeah.
And with the change in the technology and the change of what we do, and we were doing double tapings, and people were finding out the results ahead of time, and all kinds of things was exposed. We talk about this on USWA, even in 91 and 92, 93, sometime within there was still so much kayfabe because Memphis wrestling did what was called a cycle. So you had Saturday morning wrestling, and they went Monday night. They went to the Coliseum, but the Saturday after that is when Evansville, Louisville, Nashville, and all of them got the TV from the week before. So their show was so you got Monday night Mid-South Coliseum. It wouldn't happen in Evansville till the next week.
Right.
So you had the same loser league town, same this, same that, and no one knew that. No one knew it was going on. Now people would somebody go to the Coliseum, and then they're, I had a guest talk about it. They went to TV taping Saturday morning, and then they drove back to Nashville to go to the show, and everything was behind. You might remember that. Everything was a week behind. So
yeah, I do remember that.
He told a story about Dutch Mantel and Bill Dundee were fighting on TV, and when they got to Nashville, they were tagging. And he says he asked his dad what was going on. He said, "Oh, that's all fake. That shit's all fake." And he's told his dad, "Nope, I figured it out. They made up in the car while they
There you go. That's exactly what happened."
I think the real, in my opinion, the real total demise of kayfabe was the Montreal Screwjob. When Bret Hart did his own little documentary during that time, I can't remember the name of it. But in that documentary, he has it where, he's saying, "Oh, well, it's going to be a schmaz, and, they're going to, come in so I don't drop the belt, and I'll just drop, and putting it all out there." I think he's the one that actually did, kind of did the kayfabe thing, demise, when that was 97. So in my opinion, that's when it happened.
But to me, it's still alive too, because for people that want it to be alive, a fan will you should watch this crowd in Memphis wrestling. These people want to believe. They still want to believe.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do if you've been part of the business. We talk about this, that, man, it took me 2 or 3 years before when I quit on the road to say, okay, I'm going to enjoy wrestling for what it is, because my mind was constantly saying, when did they make the hot tag? Why did he get so much of this? Why, what did he do? Kind of thing. And you both of you know, the more you know about what's going on, it's hard to enjoy the business. I was watching. I don't get spoilers from Memphis wrestling, so I review the show without knowing what's going to happen.
Right.
Because I remember Jim Ross talk about that one time, so I wanted to do that. And here I am, been in the business, been around the business forever, and I'm yelling at the screen. They changed the belt, then they do a cash in, and I'm going, no, because they did this storyline where this kid went through hell and high water to win the belt. Yeah. And I'm like, yay, he won. And then I'm sitting here going, no. And I just told Dustin Starr, the guy that does Memphis Wrestling, that story this week. He says, "You didn't." I said, "No, I'm just a mark. That's it. I want to be a mark again."
Well, it's funny. I still miss kayfabe. I don't care what anybody says. I miss those days. I remember when we were always around the wrestlers and Dominic and Bruno and Ivan and all that. It was right away, man. Dominic would be the first thing come out of his mouth, kayfabe. and everybody would just shut up, that hurts me today. It really does, because I look at the TV like this thing that on that Unreal, this thing with Seth Rollins when he never really broke his leg or whatever. Of course, a lot of times they don't really get hurt, but a lot of times they do.
Right, right.
But for them to come out and say, well, yeah, we only told a few people, we did it upsets me, because like I want it to still be kayfabe. I want to still be surprised. I want to still say, oh my God, that was so good. And it's not like that anymore. Like, even if you don't know what's going to happen, you do know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like no surprise whatsoever. And I don't like that. That I don't like, but it is what it is.
And the prices that people are paying makes you think that it doesn't really matter. Kayfabe doesn't matter anymore. That's the highest prices in ever to go to WWE.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Anywhere, like concerts and stuff like that. So no one really cares if they're a wrestling fan. Lance Russell, and I don't know if it was during y'all's time there or another time, he had the perfect answer to kayfabe when it came to, well, people say it's fake. He'd say, well, you don't know the ending. You don't know just like you don't know the ending of a movie. That's changed a little bit. Lance's advice was awesome, but it's even went that further because of, like I said, technology, being able to get on a website and say, well, John won the belt last night, or Seth Rollins got, it's went to a different stage. But I still enjoy the business. I love the business.
No, I love it too.
I'll
always love it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be doing podcasts all the time if I didn't love the business.
Exactly. Well, it's funny. Seth Rollins, I think it was, said, you could say wrestling is predetermined, it's fixed, it's this, but it's not fake.
Oh, no, not at all.
People really get hurt, he said. And like I always tell people,
that pisses me off so much when people say that. It's not fake.
You can't, these people that look at, just as an example, look at, they call him the Auszilla now. What's his name? Bronson Reed. You have somebody that weight jumping off the top turnbuckle. You can't change your weight in midair. You know what I mean?
No.
The guy at the bottom, yeah, he's going to tighten up when it comes down. Of course he is. But that slap is still there. And I don't care who you are. You will feel it tomorrow. I don't care. You do feel it. And people do get hurt. And that's important. AEW, I think, is taking it to a whole nother level. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, next question. Brian, on several episodes of Carmella's Wrestling Radio Relived, Carmella has spoken about the wrestlers who would stay at her parents' house when they were in Philadelphia. Wrestlers like Bruno Sammartino, Dominic DeNucci, Ivan Putski, Andre the Giant, and others all stayed at her house and ate with her family at one time or another. My question is, in your neck of the woods, what notable wrestlers have you socialized with and broken bread with over the years?
Oh, this is a fun question. This is a real fun question. So a friend of mine drove into Jonesboro, and I'm sitting there. There's a knock on the door, and my friend says, "Hey, I'm dropping Dutch off, and bring him to the matches." I said, "What?" Dutch Mantel, who... And I always compare this to watching I Dream of Jeannie, Gilligan's Island, or something like. Memphis wrestling was such a big deal.
Oh yeah,
those guys were stars. We didn't play, Cowboys and Indians on the playground. We played wrestling. We were Bill Dundee, Jerry Lawler. That's what we did. And here's Dutch Mantel sitting in my apartment, and I have to entertain him for 2 hours.
Right.
Just that was one of the first times that there was somebody. Now I hadn't been backstage before that. That's the reason he was dropped by, because he knew I knew, or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I have a great story, and I told it not recently, and we started joking around about it. And I titled the story, "I fed the Undertaker pizza," and my friends said, "So you were feeding him pizza?" Like, they wanted me to do an AI picture of me giving him pizza to his mouth. But we knew him as Master of Pain. He, at the time, he was the champ here in Memphis. So we called, just for the give him hell, we called him Champ. Super nice guy. I've got photos of me and him eating pizza.
Right.
And then I got photos. He's standing there. He don't have one tattoo. He don't have a tattoo at all. But yeah, I had a lot of guys that were they had to drive back from Nashville in Jonesboro at night. And if they were tired or they had had a tough time, my roommate wasn't home on the weekends. So I would give them the couch.
Hmm.
If you want to stay, blah, blah, blah. But he was one of those guys that, bullshitted with me. We talked, we ate. I showed him his first match against Bruiser Brody. Um, I I have a really good story, but I can't confirm everything yet. I'll have to come over here and tell you the whole Undertaker in the cemetery story.
Okay.
Uh, and I took photos of him in the cemetery, and I got some photos that I think are mine, and I haven't been able to confirm it yet if they really
Okay.
are my photos. But if so, I'll come on and tell that. But yeah, the Undertaker. See, AJ Action Jackson was in the area. He was a friend of mine at the time. Dutch, Brian Lee, just guys like that. They were just man, guys in the business that travel so much. Owen Hart was famous for this, but almost every one of them loves to have somebody in a town that they
Hmm.
number
Oh,
one that
absolutely.
they can trust, that they can sit down. They don't have to be around the business.
Yep.
You don't even have to talk about the business. Now, me, I'm gonna talk about the business, but you learn to just no. If they want to talk about it, they talk about it. If they don't, you just keep your mouth shut and we talk about other stuff.
Well, that's
But
what it was like with us. We
yeah,
when they came over our house, and then like I said, when my mom passed away, I took over and they came over my house. But we very rarely talked about like wrestling.
right.
It was just maybe a couple of comments or a couple questions, like you said, like what the hell were you thinking that night, or stupid stuff like that. But we talked about family, we talked about TV, we talked about movies, we talked about things that regular people talk about. And I agree with you, Brian, because I think sometimes when they get the opportunity to not talk about the business, they don't want to talk about the business. They
Well,
want to
they
be
were
normal
going home a
people.
lot. That's the thing people don't.
Hmm.
They say they go. I said they went home to Nashville. A lot of the guys were just going to a hotel room in Nashville. They were eating out.
Exactly.
They were eating out. They weren't getting real food. They
Yep.
wasn't, and it was just one of those things where it was a normal setting. It's a house
Yep.
with a normal bathroom with an upstairs. You know what I'm saying? It was just
Yep.
really. It was something I didn't understand until after the fact. I think.
Right. Well, I remember Jeannie. I don't know if you remember this. That you have to remember it. When I had Tommy Rich was there, we had all those
Yeah.
wrestlers. We even had that little old guy who used to put the ring together. He was there for dinner at our house.
Oh, what
I
was his
forgot his name.
name?
Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, was it? Or it was like a president's name they called him. He was the cutest little
I don't
man.
know. I
Yeah,
don't
he was
know.
there. We had a bunch of people,
I
but I
can
had this.
picture him, but the
Yeah,
name is
but I
escaping
had
me.
this huge dining room table, and it fit close to 20, maybe 25 people. And that table was filled all the
Oh
time when we
wow.
had wrestlers at our house. It was great. I loved it. And like I said, we talked about eating, we talked about the food, we talked about it got to a point though where honestly there was so many people there that eventually, right, Jeannie, I told everybody, now you got to cough up some money. This is too much.
Right,
Everybody,
right,
and
right.
you know
Yeah.
what? Not one person gave me a hard time. Everybody gave me $10, and that paid for the dinner because I fed 20, 30 people.
Sure,
That's a
sure.
lot of
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
But I loved doing that, and I loved having people over. And like you said, to go back to what you were saying, they just want to be normal. They
Yeah.
don't want 9 million people jumping all over them. And they just want to leave Seth Rollins outside, or leave Bruno Sammartino outside, or just, come in as just the person instead of the wrestler. And I think that's a lot of fun because we laughed and we laughed. I mean, we had a ton of fun having them over and
I
just
loved
talking
it. I
regular
mean, like I
stuff.
said, it was like I was around movie stars to me.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly what it was like.
The first time I went to the dressing room, I had talked to Lawler a few times for you to send it, give him tapes,
Right.
but then I went to a show and he invited me backstage. I went backstage and Dundee has always gave me hell from day one that he met me. But when I would get ready to leave. He would come up to me and he'd go, "Ah, it's good to see you."
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish I could do
Yeah.
his accent, but he's like, "Good to see you. Shake my hand. See you later." Uh, but this is just so crazy. My life is crazy. So I meet Jerry Lawler through you. I go to my first backstage appearance. They let me start making pictures backstage. I'm back there, and Lawler said, "Won't you walk out with us?" I said, "What do you mean walk out?" He goes, "Just stand right here." So I stood right there, and they had Bill Dundee, Rocky Johnson,
Oh, wow.
Brian Tramel, and then Jerry Lawler. And
Ah,
I was like, "Oh my, what just happened?" So I slid over and watched the match and took pictures. But that never dawned on me till years later. I mean, when it was happening, it was a big deal. But years later, I was like, that was the first time I ever met him. And that night, he broke Paul Heyman's jaw in that little town.
wow.
He punched him so hard he broke his jaw. Uh,
I'll never forget, not to cut you off, but I have to
that's
tell
all
you,
right.
I'll never forget when he fired uh Paul Heyman from Memphis Wrestling. I'll never forget what he said to Paul. He hated Paul Heyman. I don't know if it still stayed that way, but I know back then he hated him. And he took Paul in the back and he fired him. And he said, by the way, you know how everybody says it's business, it's not personal? Jerry said to him, it's personal, it's not
Right,
business.
right.
Yeah. And he wanted him out in the worst way. And I believe he broke his jaw as hard as he could. He
Oh
had it in
yeah,
for
yeah.
him. Yeah. All right. Next question. Let's see. Brian, I've read that you have received recognition for your accomplishments in the wrestling business, twice being named the Mid South Wrestling Association's Manager of the Year. Get out of here. My question is, who were you managing when you won this award? 2 consecutive years in a row. Brian, I didn't know you won that 2 years in a row.
It was the teams that we talked about. There was two teams. One was called Total Chaos. The other team was called the Riot Squad. And I switched up. Like I said, sometimes I managed Total Chaos, but they were more baby faces. They were doing kind of like the Hardy Boys gimmick.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I'd switch up with them. And the Riot Squad was two big guys that just destroyed people was pretty much what they did. But that was I worked 2 or 3 times. Let me say this again: about 4 or 5 times a month for that organization.
That is
We
so
did,
cool.
yeah, did little bitty towns in Tennessee, Dresden. Uh, I got a funny story about getting an award. I was getting the Manager of the Year award for the second year in a row,
Right.
and we were driving, and I was so sick. I'm talking throwing up. They would have to stop every 20 minutes,
Oh my God.
throwing up. And I'm like, coming back, I'm doing the same thing. And they said, "Why didn't you just stay home?" And, I was this is me being funny. I wasn't trying to act like it was a big deal. I said,
Right.
"Because I'm manager of the year, motherfuckers. I'm going to get my award." So don't you know who you got in the car with you?
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
they
hear
said,
you.
I said, "By the way, stop." And then they would all go, I get in, they said, "Did you go, ugh?" And I was like, "Yes, stop." And then
Wow.
one of the guys in the front seat, he turned off the music and everything, and I'm so sick. He said, "Man, I done figured out why you're so sick." And I said, "Why?" He says, "You got fatitis."
Oh my
I was
God.
because I was fat, I was sick, and I was like, "Oh, I got so mad at him. I hated him. I said, I hate y'all." Blah
That's
blah blah.
mean. That's
And
not
then I
nice.
was, oh, it was mean, but it was funny. And I was like, "Stop, let me." But I went and got that award, and we had such a good time. That promotion was. We did all kinds of things that you just wouldn't do. Like, well, there's some ideas they wouldn't do, that wouldn't do that I wanted to do. But
Yeah.
I had a feud with a girl that I talked her. I hit people with clipboards, and I talked her into letting me jump her and hit her with a clipboard.
Oh my
And
God,
I said,
Brian.
the crowd's going to go. She was a big girl. I knew she could take it, but the clipboard just broke. It didn't hurt. And I talked her into blading. And she said,
Brian.
"Yeah." She said, "I'll blade. I have no problem." I was like, I remember driving home when I talked to the angle and talked her into it. And I told my wife, I said, "I can't believe she's doing this just so we get a little bit of blood." And I said, "The crowd is going to hate me." She won her match, won the title, the men's title. She was like a big China fan. So they were trying to get it going on. I slid in behind her. She turned around and hit her with the clipboard. She went down. I turned around, getting heat and everything. to the crowd. I turned back around, and ladies, I've never seen so much blood come out of
Oh my
somebody's head.
God,
This girl
Brian.
is,
Oh
and
my
blood's going
Wow.
God.
everywhere, and the crowd just, it's silent heat. It's just, there's nothing. The crowd's not saying nothing. And I thought to myself, man, I have messed up.
Yeah.
uh, and so when I heard nothing, I kind of thought I had messed, that it didn't work. And then I slid out of the ring, and this noise just got louder and louder as I headed to the dressing room. And she came back from the dressing room, and she was still bleeding. I was like, Dakota, I wanted you to bleed, but I didn't want you to bleed that much.
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ!
Well, at
But
least
yeah,
she tried to do you right. She
we had
tried to
all
make you
kinds of stuff.
happy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's crazy.
fun stuff in them little bitty towns
I
because
know. Isn't
they
that great?
believed. They
I
believed.
love that. That's mainly the reason we came to Memphis was because we had those videos that Paul used to get all the time. Remember?
Right, right.
And we thought that Memphis wrestling was like the cream of the crop. I mean, it was good stuff. I mean, amazing stuff. And that was what prompted us to bring like almost a whole plane full of people down there, you
Well, you
know?
got to remember that we all grew up. These wrestlers that in my group that was wrestling for these little bitty outlaw promotions, we all
Right.
grew up watching Memphis wrestling. So our mind was so tarnished about what wrestling was supposed to
Yeah.
be. So I wanted to do something outrageous all the time. I wanted to do something,
Yeah.
the concession stand brawl, the go into someone's parking lot and smash their car with a baseball bat, just stuff like that. And when you got that many people, you got a roster of 12 people that want to do Memphis wrestling. Uh,
Forget it. Yeah, that's
it
crazy.
was just so much fun, so
Yeah,
much
and
chaos.
I
So
think
yeah,
honestly, the first time I ever saw a parking lot battle or concession stand battle, one of the first times anyway, was in Memphis wrestling. I don't think I had ever seen it anywhere else. And then, of course, everybody started to follow suit after that. Now it's like easy stuff. But back then it was like, oh my God, look at them. They're really fighting out there. Like that's real, you know?
yeah,
It
we
was
did.
so cool.
They had the Fabs against the sheep herders, and they battled outside when we was watching one of the old shows. And I was like,
Hmm.
that was always a staple of Memphis. Like, one of my memories of Memphis is Rick Rude opening up the back of the TV studio with a
Right.
baseball bat and goes in out and smashes Lawler's car. But that is, that was it. That was what we were used to. And you know this, a lot of people in the business thought Memphis was hokey.
Yeah.
We're talking about people in the business, not
Right. Right.
fans, but people in the business. Oh, those guys don't know what they're doing. You can go back and you can watch the real important matches and what they're doing. They were doing psychology. They were doing everything perfect. I've seen a match in 1978
Yep.
with the babyface just getting beat up the whole match, just like Jerry Lawler and Hulk Hogan did their whole careers, and then making the comeback. Blah blah blah. But
Yep.
that was, I don't know where they got a bad reputation around the business. Some of the guys like the Bret Harts you mentioned earlier
Mhm.
thought that Memphis was, was the shits. It wasn't. There was no workers out of Memphis.
Yeah, that was
They
wrong.
proved it wrong. Even Lawler would prove that wrong. So
Now Memphis was the bomb. I thought it was anyway.
Me too.
Okay, let's see. Okay. You were a guest on episode 42 of Carmel's Wrestling Radio Relived on December 28th,
I love this
2024.
guy.
I
Jeez.
love him too. It's crazy. On that episode, you didn't speak too highly of AEW. I was just going to mention AEW. In the 14 months since your appearance on that podcast, has your viewpoint of AEW changed?
No.
Really, I love AEW.
I'm all for it. I love it. I see the ratings are going up a little bit. The attendance was sold out the last night. I'm excited about that part of it. It's not my last pay per view was the Sting retirement. A huge Sting fan. Loved everything they did with Sting.
Yeah.
It's just not my. It's not my cup of tea in the sense that I can't watch, even with my history of being such a huge fan of brawls and stuff. I just can't watch what they do. I really honestly thought a couple of the pay per views I watched, I was going to see somebody die.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that.
No, they're really rough.
And I don't want to see that happen. The talent there is, love MJF, love Kyle Fletcher, Osprey, not a Hangman Page fan. Everyone
Me
loves
neither.
don't like
Oh,
him.
he annoys the hell out of
I
me. I
don't like him
don't
at
like
all.
him.
I think Tony Khan listens to the internet too much, and I believe that style only has a certain amount of people that will watch it.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. That's cool though.
Well, you know
But
why? Because it reminds me of the old school wrestling. It reminds me of what we grew up with. And that's what I love. I do, honest to God, think it goes a little over the top sometimes. And I get what you're saying, where you thought you might see somebody die, because they actually push the bar so far up. It's ridiculous. But I love watching AEW, even Collision, which is like the
B
lesser
show,
of the two. Yeah, like the B part. But I just like
hey,
it. And
I don't shit. I'll shit on them if there's something I don't like. But it's not that, you'll see fans on I wish they would die. I don't ever wish a promotion would
no,
die. Because you know how many guys are making money right now in AEW?
exactly.
They're making good money.
Right. And they're selling out places. I mean, it was a good idea to go to smaller arenas, that's for sure. But they are now. They're selling out. They're starting to expand. I have watched AEW since its inception every single time. And I got to be honest with you. For me, WWE has more clout. WWE has more fans. WWE has more money. WWE, blah, blah, blah. But the AEW has, in my opinion, some of the best wrestling I've seen in a long time.
I agree. I really do. But I want to say this correctly without pissing off the world. But I don't think good wrestling sells tickets.
I understand what you're saying.
It's all about see Memphis wrestling is really formulated. It's got 7-minute matches. The main event will be 7 minutes, and I fought with them with that. This is stupid. I want a 15-minute segment, blah blah blah. But the match is actually down further off. What it is, it's about the story. What's going to go on? Why are these two guys fighting? So we got the story. We finally get the match. The match is in the middle of everything, and the end result and the story of why they got there is more important than the match. I mean, and to say that, that's with me. That's why I thought this wrestling would. I was there for All In. I mean,
right.
we've got something new, blah, blah, blah. But then as I watched it, I said, and I didn't want to be right. I didn't want to say, okay, there's only going to be, 500,000 people watching this show, within a year and a half, because not a year and a half, but it was after I quit watching it, almost a year and a half, boom, because I want all of them to be, but the style doesn't. It has to be a good storyline. This thing with Swerve and Hangman went too far to me with the house burning and all that. But it was a storyline. There was a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff with MJF recently, which I watched on Twitter, I absolutely love MJF. I love everything
I love
he
him
does.
too. Yep.
Yeah.
He's going to be a huge star in WWE, but that's all I think about when I watch AEW.
But see, I think, in my opinion, WWE stories like the things with the Samoans and everything, it's like beating a dead horse sometimes too. I think if MJF goes to WWE, I honestly and truthfully think he will not be the MJF that we know now. WWE has a tendency to, like Animal said, you go to WWE to create a career or to lose one. And I think the WWE will knock him down. That's like my big fear with Obafemi. I love Obafemi so much. He is so fierce. He's such a good bad guy. He's a good tough guy. The walk that he has, the everything, the people love him. He's that. If they put him against Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania, okay, I already don't like that match because I am afraid
They
that they're
had to
going to
put
have.
him over. They had to put him over.
I
That's
don't.
the
I don't
thing.
know if they're going to. That's the
Yeah, but
thing.
they'd have to.
And
I
I don't want Brock Lesnar to beat the hell out of him because then Obafemi will be nobody again. You
my
know.
my thing with WWE used to be they always brought in people from like the CM Punks and guys doing indie and didn't do anything with them. Seth Rollins was a huge indie guy. He's done
Yeah.
everything you could do in
Right.
WWE. And that's the only thing I really like about Triple H. I do see there's and I think this is going to happen in concerts also. But here's what happened: COVID hit us, and we stayed in the house, and we didn't do anything. Well, I stay in the house anyway, but normal people, not me, normal people want to go out. They want to spend their money. They want to watch concerts. When COVID got done and we start having live crowds again, if you'll go back, I told my wife, I said, 20 years from now or 10 years from now, we need to sit down and study this because it made the live business, concerts, football, wrestling, it made it such a demand that they can charge $12,000 in a one seat kind of thing.
Oh, they
Um,
do. Believe me.
that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
concerts. I had a friend go to a concert in a stadium. He was a stadium. He was in the stadium. Like only way he got to look at them is if it was on a screen. And he paid $575.
Well, they said last year, I think it was last year's WrestleMania, one of the front row seats sold for over
I know.
$46,000.
It's just and the
It's
reason
ridiculous.
one of
Who
the
does
reasons
that?
why is they it kept us from doing what we wanted to do. And when we were able to do it again, the demand now we're seeing problems with selling out WrestleMania. WrestleMania has for the X amount, this for the X amount of years is sold out because it's the event. It's really not the matches. It's
Right.
everybody wants to
Right.
go to WrestleMania.
Right. Because
Uh,
WrestleMania is like all week and it's like the build up to
Right.
it. And
I
The
think they
Hall of
priced
Fame
themselves
and
out. I think
yeah.
they've got you have the price, a demand and if the demand's there, you could charge what you want, but they're going to have to back it up a little bit I think on the prices, but
I don't think they're gonna. I think if they're not going to cut down the prices, they better up the entertainment or the show, because right now WWE is becoming so predictable. It's ridiculous already, and I feel so bad because look at Javon Evans. To me, that kid, all right, is amazing. He is an incredible wrestler. He's a young kid. He is like almost like the rebirth of Kofi Kingston. It's like ridiculous. He's so good. And like I said, stuff like that breaks my heart to see what's going to happen in the future with him. Like Will
a
Ospreay.
lot of these guys don't see it that way though. I
No.
mean, there is some guys that'll leave the WWE because Ricochet's one of those that's been very vocal about I
Yeah.
left because they killed my move. Hey, these guys are happy to be with the WWE.
Well, yeah, because
You
they're
know,
making a ton of money.
yeah, do what you want with me. And the thing that a lot of wrestling fans don't understand is you can't push everybody all the time. You have to, take Sami Zayn. Just look at Sami Zayn the last 5 years. At times, you wouldn't even know he was on the roster. He would be either gone home or he would be in a secondary storyline. He's
Yeah.
in a really
They're
hot
not pushing him at all
storyline
right
again.
now. They're
Yeah,
not pushing him at
they're
all.
fixing to turn him, and it'll be a huge storyline with him. But that's an example of you just can't push everybody all the time, kind of thing.
No, but I think they should push more people than they do, and they should push them in a better way to let their talent show, and they don't do that. Like we talked about Hikuleo when he came here from, I hate saying this over and over again, but when he came here from Japan, the WWE didn't put him right in the roster. They made him go to the Performance Center so he would learn how to wrestle WWE style, and he has hardly been in any matches, hardly at all. And it's ridiculous. He's a talented young
Yeah,
man.
but Carm, you got to do that. Think about this: you bring somebody in, and for example, just say any business. Say we bring they're working FedEx, and you got or Pizza Hut. You got to teach that person how you run your business.
Right.
So the psychology of WWE is totally different than the psychology of AEW.
I get
AEW is
that.
back, forth,
Yeah, I get that.
super move, big move.
But he was already in the performance center over a year before he came to the roster. And now, even now, like I had a new guy at my job that I'm training. As soon as I saw that he was able to do what I taught him, good, you do that and we'll teach you something else, get better. But that's
Right.
just it. They're not using him at all. I think the guy has a lot of potential. I do. And they're
I
just
like
not
him
doing
too.
anything. Yeah,
I
I
like
like
him
him a
in
lot.
Japan. So
Yeah.
I was a fan of his in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of like I joke around about my preference in some of the wrestlers. Like I like wrestlers of all shapes and sizes.
Me
Where
too.
I like the when I promoted a show, I would have small guys, big guys, fat guys, big ugly monsters, pretty boys, you name it. I like
Yeah.
all of it, and that's one
Yeah.
of the things I say. I'm like Vince McMahon when I see a big guy like that, almost as somebody that I absolutely love. No one ever talks about him, how
Yeah.
big he is.
Almost. Yeah. Where's he been? He just came
Yeah,
back
I
for
love
AJ
that guy.
Styles'
I'm like,
retirement. Yeah, that was
he
it.
would be world champion if
Yeah.
I was
I
booking.
know. I
But
know.
that's the
I
Vince
agree.
McMahon thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Okay.
guys.
Next question. You have a long and storied history in writing and podcasting about professional wrestling. Could you please name a few of your favorite interviews with wrestlers or wrestling personalities? You have to mention me. Come on, Brian.
All right, Carmella was my favorite. That was a good show, by the way.
That
You
what?
know what? This is a lame. This is a lame answer because there's a lot of people that says, but I really believe this. My favorite interview is the last one that really was fun to do. Like I did that interview yesterday, one on one. Had somebody in my house, and when I was a little nervous, I'm usually not nervous, but I mean, this is a total different dynamic being face to face with somebody,
Right.
and just had a great time. And I was like, man, that's probably one of my favorite interviews. But because we've done so many different shows, over 1,000, you get to where it part of it becomes just I don't know. I do Memphis wrestling by myself, so I do a episode every Saturday. It becomes like secondhand. You just go in and you do the show. We
Yeah.
do a music podcast. We've been doing. I did the 7th episode today. There's a lot of research on the music podcast compared to wrestling podcast because I do a lot of this. All these questions I've just shot because I always say. Mike Anthony's coming here Saturday. He said, what are we going to talk about? I said, we're going to call it In the Ring. He goes, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the way I am. I want the podcast. I've always wanted the podcast. It's called Shooting the Shiznit for a reason because I want it to come off as two people sitting down bullshitting and
Yeah.
talking about wrestling and talking about how do I know this guy?
Yeah.
What was our history? And I know I've had criticism. People say, "Oh, BT just throws himself in every conversation." It's my podcast. I know this guy. I know Carmella. I'm going to throw myself in. That's what the hell
Exactly.
I'm doing. So,
Exactly.
and
How many
that
podcasts do you have, Brian?
I don't know what we do. We do a certain number. At one time I was throwing everything up against the wall and finding out what worked. And I started doing the music podcast when my partner left. He was doing one, and I would produce a show, but not, record. And I
Mhm.
started doing that to get away. Like I still wanted the music, but it gets me away from wrestling. But there's a lot of research to it because the podcast is called "Hit Me with Your First Shot." And what you do is like Carmela, you, Jeannie, you decide what was your first album, and you give it. You say my first album was we did a Cheap Trick album today, but
Oh,
whatever your first album was, you come on and you say this was my first album, and I come up with all kinds of information about it. We can't listen to the song because of copyrights, but we can talk about each song on side A. Then I come up with 10 crazy facts that was about it. Then we go to side B. I ask you, did you buy it on album or did you buy it on cassette? What was going on in your life during that? It's just such a fun show. And
yeah.
it gets me away from from wrestling, which I need sometimes. So
Yeah, I don't blame you. I get it. Believe me, I do. Okay, last question. My last question is about a wrestler from now home state of New Jersey who wrestled in your area for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Chris Candido from Spring Lake, New Jersey was a versatile, highly respected wrestler who unfortunately died young in 2005 at the age of 33. My question, in your opinion, how good could Chris Candido have been if he was still alive today?
okay, so Smoky Mountain's really not my area because it's way far from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
But I was a fan of Chris Candido. He came to Memphis because of his connection with Dennis Carluzzo at the time. And Dennis had Chris Candido and a couple other guys come down. Eventually, we seen Chris in 1991, and he worked just opening matches and stuff, but he got in the ring with guys like Bill Dundee, Danny Davis, and he got a lot of experience. He was good even at that time. He was real young, but he was real good. Um, the thing about it is, you just with so many people that were dying during that time,
Yeah.
everyone had. It seems like so many people when after they die, they say, "Oh, they had so much potential," but Candido did have the potential. He really did. Uh, Maybe after the past of what we learned about Sonny, he might have had had a bad, I don't know. He might have been perceived better if it wasn't for her at times.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just
Maybe he
gonna.
would have had a better future. Who
But
knows?
remember, it really was a different culture. There was drugs. You could get almost any drug you wanted to. I've heard, stories of people coming to the matches and just being stoned out of their mind, and I never would work anyone stoned.
Yeah,
If you smoke marijuana, didn't really have a problem. But if you had 3 or 4 beers and didn't really know what you were doing, I would refuse to do any work with you. But even when I was finishing up back, there still was a lot of drugs, even in independent. Steroids was there. It was on a small scale, but steroids were the pain pills were the you know. I just explained the word gimmick to someone today. I heard so many times, "Hey, you got a gimmick I can have," and that was a pain pill. And you know, hydrocodone when I was there was real popular. It was
oh
one of
yeah,
those
yeah, but
Flexeril,
yeah.
Valium.
Doctors
Any
used to give those out like they were candy, and now of course, even with major surgery,
you
you're
had to
lucky if
fight,
you get
yeah,
5 milligrams. That's it, 5 milligrams. That's all I ever got with my back surgeries. But I appreciate that more now,
yeah,
because
yeah.
back
But
then it's ridiculous.
yeah, there was, the thing about it is there's just a lot of guys. He was one of those guys that had potential. I hate, you know, X amount of guys died, probably more than we know. There was always rumors, of this guy that died of an overdose, and then they'd say, no, no, he didn't die that way. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
think maybe he did.
yeah, yeah,
People that end up in Puerto Rico and Japan and they're away from
yeah,
their parents and the people that control their business, you know, you just wrestlers have a very few things to do in between the matches. It's workout, eat, sleep, and boy, they like to do their drugs. So I'm
yeah.
just, I've been there. I know how it is. There's guys that didn't. I hung around with, but there was guys that did also.
Yeah, I know we had that a lot back in the day. Go ahead, Jeannie. You were going to say something?
Well, I was going to say you had said you had the last question. I actually have the last question
Oh,
Okay.
good.
for
Okay, go
Brian.
ahead. Go ahead.
For Brian, um,
Jeannie, no. I know you're married, so the answer is no.
um,
I'm not married, Brian.
Look, Carmela, her face is red.
I
Woo!
know.
so no, my question to you is kind of a follow-up a little bit of who was your favorite um uh guest on your podcast, and kind of joking around, not joking, Carmela said you better say me. I think you might have to change that, your
Okay.
opinion, because I'm not sure if you're aware that my idol
Oh God,
down
Jeannie,
there
stop it.
is being inducted in the Professional Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame in March.
Okay.
And
now
so
you have to
now you can say that you've had a Hall of Famer on your show. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there.
Oh God, Jeannie, she is.
And your story with you throwing up getting your Manager of the Year award twice, throwing up, that'll be Carmella. She'll be thrown up to go to New York to, it doesn't matter.
I have
fall up or down the steps somewhere,
I know that this is going to get gross, so you don't want to be gross. Okay, turn off the podcast. But everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say I had a girlfriend say this was what it was. The crapping pukes. So what is the crapping pukes if you don't know? Well, you have to decide. Are you going to crap your pants or are you going to puke on yourself?
Well,
so
you carry a trash bag
Yeah,
around is
yeah.
what you do.
And then
two trash bags. One for up here and one for down there. Yeah.
And it's not from being hungover. It's nothing like that. It's a virus and it's horrible. One of the last times I had it, I was in the bed and I told my wife, please tell the children I love them. Because
wait a minute, please what?
Please tell the children I love them.
Oh my God.
Because I'm dying. It really makes you feel like you're dying because you're taking everything in your body goes out. And that's the way I was feeling. And, I was mad and my feelings were hurt when that guy said that at the time. But after it was all over, I was laughing my ass off. After all this, me having to get out of the car and throw up, here this guy's making jokes and having fun. But it is.
Sometimes their jokes go a little too far. I don't like that either, to be honest with you. But
my wife don't like that either. So one of my high school friends, she went for the first time to a 4th of July party with us, and we give each other hell constantly. We get in the car and she goes, "Y'all are mean to each other. I don't like that. How mean y'all are to each other. How are y'all friends?" I was like, that's how we're friends.
Well, yeah, it's funny. And Jeannie, you know this. We have a friend named Rich Fittingoff, and he and I, you can see it on Facebook too. If he writes something, I'm like, shut up, you ass, or, and he'll write back to me, I hate you. And I write, I hate you. And you're this and you're that. And it's funny because people think that we're serious and we're not.
Right.
But it's funny because how you interact with somebody is different. Like I have a bunch of different friends and I interact differently with each of them pretty much, because you know what you can and can't say to certain people, and you got to watch.
I got a new friend. He explained it perfectly. His name, I had him over here. He was a listener to our podcast. I interviewed him and he goes, BT, he goes, look, I can give you all the hell I want to. But you're my friend, and if anyone else says anything bad about you, I'm going to bow up and tell them to fuck off. And I said, okay, go ahead.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I would do for my friends and what I'm hoping that they would do for me. But listen, I wanted to ask you if after WrestleMania, we're going to, kind of rebuild again, if you'd like to come back on our show again and we can talk more because you are a plethora of information, and I'd love to not go overboard tonight, but have you back on at another date.
I love to talk about WrestleMania. We always do.
We'll do 10,
that. 10. We call it 10-10-10. It was because of the what's his name that did 10-10-10 at the time.
I forgot his name
pro
too.
wrestling. Maybe we can. I had to do it by myself last year. Maybe us three can do it this year.
That'd be nice. I'd love that. I absolutely would love that.
What we do is we take both nights and Carmen, you would send me your 10 favorite moments. She would send me her 10, and I'd take my 10, and then I'd, see what's the top moment, and then we sit and talk about each moment.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
Well, you're going to have to do it without me because I ain't watching it.
Oh,
well, I'll tell you what we'll do.
I ain't paying for it. I'm
I'll
not
tell you what
getting the app. I'm not getting any. Nope.
What we're going to do, Brian, I don't know if you remember our friend Rich Schwartz. He did a couple shows with us. He is going to take Jeannie's spot for a few weeks because we're going to do recaps of a lot of AEW and WWE stuff. So he'll be available for after WrestleMania, and it could be the three of us that way.
There was something I was going to say when you were talking earlier about AEW and WWE. the smart community is weird in the sense that if you go back and you look at the old kayfabe sheets, because I've been doing it during research, they were so anti WWE. Carmella and Joe Goodhart was so anti WWE.
Wait a minute, it was more Joel
More
Goodhart than
Joel.
me. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
Joel
but
than
y'all
me.
were NWA was the
Yeah.
shit, and WWE sucked, and it was all about Hogan was the worst wrestler ever, and I was like, Hogan had the best psychology. He was. If you watch a Hogan match and a Jerry Lawler match, they're the same match. They just take a bunch of beating and they come back.
Yeah, but
Um,
Hogan could never, ever, ever, ever tie Jerry Lawler's shoes. Trust me. Okay, they may have the same psychology. Okay, but Lawler was a much better wrestler, much better in-ring personality than Hogan ever was. I cannot stand that man. I
See,
never could.
I was a huge fan of Hogan and Dusty until I started getting the kayfabe sheets, and the kayfabe sheets were, oh, they're the worst wrestlers ever. It's Ric Flair and it's blah blah blah, and I was just like, if I never got those, would I still been fans of those guys?
Well, see, with me, a lot of it has to do with knowing them personally. And when I know somebody personally, I have difficulty separating what I know about them from their in-ring performance, I guess. Hogan was just not cool outside the ring that I was aware of back then. Ric Flair, God bless him. I got to be honest with you. I was never a big fan of Ric Flair, but Ric Flair, I think the worst thing that I was around that he did was run around naked and drink like there was no tomorrow. You know what I mean?
We do that every Saturday night here.
Yeah, but he
on the
was
Tramel household. So
okay, there you go. But he was a great wrestler. He just was. Dusty Rhodes, same thing. Jeannie and I never had nice things to say about him as a person. Okay,
but as a booker and as a performer,
and his in-ring,
he was amazing.
He was amazing.
Well, I've
as
come
a human
to realize,
being, he's a fucking jerk off.
Yeah,
exactly.
I come to realize that you, as a wrestling fan, it is okay to like a shitty wrestler. I don't. If he's not, you're a fan of his. It's just like shitty music. People say that's the worst song I ever heard.
Yeah,
and you're you're rocking out to it. You love it. So it's okay to like somebody that's not perfect in the ring. You think there's all kinds of guys that, to me, what was he was Big Bubba in Memphis, Typhoon, and Earthquake. Those two guys, I love those guys. I loved them, but they weren't great at what they did. But
but you know what's funny? I have gotten a lot of pushback when I started pushing the hell out of Will Ospreay. A lot of people were like, "Are you kidding me? Yeah. He's crazy. He can't wrestle. He can't. Are you out of your mind? That kid is amazing." And that's the only reason. He's an excellent wrestler. Never met the guy. I did have an opportunity to meet him, but dummy me didn't go. And it was nobody there. It was just a very personal thing with a friend, and I didn't go. And I could smack myself over and over again. But I will meet him one day. Who knows? Maybe he'll be there in March when we go up for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of AEW people there, I heard.
I watched the Wheel a lot in Japan, and I hate it because it's the same thing with Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy. I love those guys. The style just put them in hospital more than it did.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look at him with his neck. And the other thing they were saying last night, a lot of people were saying, not last night, Monday, that AJ Styles is supposed to go to AEW, but he's got a bad neck. That's why he retired. He doesn't want to, get to that point where he's going to not be able to do anything.
You see him, all them kids that man has?
He has 4. Yeah. I got news for you. Fatu is younger than him. He's 33. He's got 7.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Well, I have an aunt that had 21, so none of that surprises me. But
I got 3, but that's it. So.
I have 3 as well, and I have Jeannie, and I have Nicholas, so I have 5. Brian, it's been a wonderful night.
It's been fun. Thank you.
I just have to ask one question because I saw this when I was on my lunch today. I went on Facebook, and I don't know if it's real or not, But was Vince McMahon in another car accident?
No, it's the same one. They just released.
That's
the
okay.
footage.
That was the picture.
They just released.
Okay.
It's crazy. Go out of your way.
I couldn't tell if it was new or if this was old, and I was just like, well,
it's the
I don't
same.
care. He's
What
still
happened
alive,
was
so
I
scroll.
think there's a story where he paid off for it not to be on his record, so they wanted to release. Then the police ended up releasing the video, and you should see this guy. I mean,
what does he not get? What does he not pay off? I mean, come on. He's going to get off of everything because of his money. So, it is what it is. But I wanted to also say hello to Chris and Nino, one of the Bulldogs or Pitbulls, not Bulldog, I forget. Pitbulls, him and Gary Wolf. But I want to say thank you. Chris calls me all the time to see how I am. I told him that I, wasn't feeling that great. And he's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do? He's a really nice guy. He's a really good
person.
Now,
who was the guy that did these questions? Because I want to thank him for it.
His name is Chuck Langerman. He will be on the podcast as soon as he gets a new computer, he said.
Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate the questions. Very good question.
Great man. Yeah, he's a great man. He also was one of the people who nominated me for the March 21st Hall of Fame. Yeah. So I was very excited and very happy about that. But that's it. So we're going to say goodbye right now. We're going to ask you to come back. And
all right. Thanks for having me,
WrestleMania.
Ladies.
Oh, God.
Thanks for coming back on. We've missed you.
Oh,
seriously.
And don't forget, you owe me 2 audios.
I do. I'm going to make them. I just hadn't had a chance. I'm going to put.
That's all right.
Actually, I think I'm going to use StreamYard. So I think I'm going to use StreamYard to show you how to use StreamYard. So
okay, and listen to me. I don't want to hear this stuff about you forget because I'm a lot older than you.
Oh,
don't be handing me that I forget stuff.
So my catchphrase.
My daughter doesn't let me forget anything.
I'm trying to do my catchphrase this morning. I forget the beginning, and then since I forgot the beginning, it's same bat time, same bat channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. And then I do be there like that. And then I say, love my mama.
And then you also say, wait a minute, you know where to go. You know what to do.
Oh, yeah, that's on Shiznit Minute. Yeah, we do that.
Shiznit. I listen. I love
that's my friend. Stacy's my friend. She's been I met her at wrestling, and she's been a friend of mine forever. She goes, I listen to those, and you don't tell where to go. And I say, yeah, I do. I say stspod.com twice right after that. And she's like, hold on. And then she comes back, you're right. And I'm going, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's say goodbye. You have to say goodbye to Debbie for me, please.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. I appreciate you supporting and being excited about me coming on. I really, when after we're getting started with y'all, I really wanted y'all to have, and I've noticed y'all have done this. If you're going to do the podcast, you have to have your own identity, and you have to do what you want to do. And Carm, you're a strong personality. I don't know if that surprises you, right, Jeannie, that she's a strong personality.
So shy, and
you needed to do it. Y'all have done it. I've watched some of your shows, and y'all have so much fun with other people. And if you got a guy that's going to do research like that and ask your guests questions, that is awesome.
He's great. Awesome. And you know what? I got to tell you something too. Today at work, we have people come up to the window to ask questions, and this was a foreclosure matter, and somebody came up and was talking blah blah blah, and I have this football shirt on, and he said to me, I'm going to be really nice to you because you have a Steelers, I think he said, shirt or whatever. I turned around, it had 0 dimes. I said, no, it's wrestling, like from what's his name, Enzo. And he's like, wrestling. So we started talking. Here he's a freelance journalist, and he knows somebody down in South Jersey named Mitch who promotes wrestling down there. And I was talking to him about the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. And he's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to come back and interview you. I said, I don't know if I'm allowed to mix that with work, but we'll see, But I walked away, and my coworker says to me, she had to start talking about wrestling. As soon as I heard wrestling, I went back to my seat. And like, she always finds a way to bring wrestling into everything. But I love it. I just love wrestling. I love this podcast. I love you, Brian. Thank you so much.
I love you, ladies. Really I appreciate y'all having me on. And like I said, we'll get together, Carmela, and if you want to bring the other guy, and we'll do this. Y'all can do that show with me. And
definitely.
We can put it on both feeds. So.
Okay. We'll do that, and I'll be in touch with you between now and then for sure.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
Sweetheart. Jeannie, I love you.
Love you
Bye,
guys.
y'all.
Okay.
I love my
Love
mama.
you. I love my mama. My mama's not here, but I still love her. All right. God bless. Talk to you later, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Bye.
next week we have Susan Green and Vicky Otis again. So we're going to fill in the blanks where we didn't before because Susan wasn't able to get on. But we're going to have a good show next week. So we'll see you later. Jeannie,
Yes.
I love you. Talk to you soon.
Love you. Yes. Have a
Mwah.
great night.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.